Hey everyone, welcome back to Sgcarmart Reviews. Now, let's talk about the BMW M2. When the original M2 was launched back in 2016, it was something of a revelation. Nimble, agile, compact, and a little bit spiky, the M2 was everything you wanted a compact M car to be. And you could have it with a manual gearbox too. And a competition variant, now that's a car I absolutely adore. So, this new second generation M2 certainly has a lot to live up to. Now, before we start, today's episode is made possible by Sgcarmart Smart Loan.
Sgcarmart Smart Loan is designed to save you time and money through a digitalized loan application via MyInfo for your used car purchase at below market interest rates. For a limited time only, get $500 cashback and a 6 months Kinto membership worth $1,200 when you apply for a loan today.
To find out how much money you'll save on a used or private hire car, click on the link in the description below. Now, back to the review. We first have to talk about how the car looks. It's busy. So BMW has gone for a boxy aesthetic, and I will say that the car has a face that's kind of hard to love, right? There are a lot of lines. So there's this power dome here, we have grills, a lot of lines everywhere, and it is for sure very attention grabbing, and people are gonna see you coming from pretty far away. Now, the side view though, that's a view I can get behind. So this car is longer than before, but it's still a very recognizable sports coupe silhouette. If you look down here, you get really nice flat wheel arches. I also really like this color.
The BMW M2 Coupe is priced at $517,888. The 3-litre engine produces 453 brake horsepower and 550 Nm of torque. The 8-speed transmission brings the car from 0 to 100 km/h in 4.1 seconds. The BMW M2 Coupe has a clean fuel consumption of 10.2 km per litre. For more details on the BMW M2 or any other car, head on to sgcarmart.com to help you make a smart choice on your next car.
Now, at the back, I do like how it looks. It's a little bit simpler than the front, and you have a really nice low and wide stance, and it's purposeful like you want your sports coupe to look like. And of course, you have these quad tailpipes, and it's M2, it looks great. Now, if we check out the boot, here we have a 390-litre boot, and it's actually quite usable for a compact car. It will fit a big luggage, and actually it will pass the anti-trolley length test barely, depending on how you sort of angle the trolley, but yeah, it will fit. Now let's go jump inside the car. Now, here in the rear seat of the M2, it is understandably compact. However, I must concede that it's not claustrophobic. So I am 171 tall, and yes, I don't really have any headroom. My head is touching the roof. However, I can actually sit relatively comfortably, right? I can put my feet flat on the ground and my knees are not yet touching the seats here. So I have leg room, right? This is my normal driving position. And yeah, this car is bigger than before, so you can actually fit 2 adults here somewhat comfortably. Not for super long journeys, but for shorter journeys, it's perfectly fine. We also have rear aircon vents, so that's helpful. You have temperature control and directional control, but no fan control. But yeah, beyond that, not much to talk about. This is a purely 2-seater at the back. More importantly, let's go jump in the front. Now, here in the front of the cabin, it's a familiar BMW space, and specifically it's a familiar BMW M space, right? So this is very, very, very similar to what you'll see in M3 and M4. So obviously this is the curved display running OS 8. I do like the M-specific graphics here. It's a little bit slanted, right? The menus, and it's nice. You get easy access to all your important performance information, things like your setup, your tire pressures, your engine information, stuff like that. And of course, this gives you all kinds of connectivity as well. You can have Apple CarPlay wirelessly, and easy to use. Now, the digital cluster, still not quite my thing with this new graphic layout. I don't really know how to read things like your RPM and your speed, so you just use the numbers instead. But you can of course configure it to display a whole bunch of different things, right? Your lap timer, you have traffic directions, you can have your maps, your infotainment, everything that you want you can display here. And of course, we also have a heads-up display. Now, this being an M car, you have the M1 and M2 buttons, so this gives you quick access to specific M modes that you can configure yourself, right? So it's just things that are just one button away. You can set this up for like half sporty and full sporty, things like that. Now, if we move on over to the center console, again, this is an M-specific console. So similar to what you'll get in normal BMW, but with some additional things. So you have an exhaust button, so loud mode, and you have a setup button where you can quickly access your different configurations, and you also have this M mode where you can basically turn off all your driver safety systems. So here you can adjust how quickly the gear shifts happen. It's quite a simple, straightforward cabin, right? I will have to point out, I like these M seats. They are comfortable yet quite supportive. And this being a sports car, you're gonna have tons of carbon fiber everywhere as well. But yeah, enough about how this car looks and feels, right? What's important about an M2 is how it performs on the road, so let's take this car out for a spin. Now, power here comes from the same S58 3-litre straight-six engine you'll find in the M3 and M4. However, here it's tuned to 453 brake horsepower and 550 Newton meters of torque. But you know, that's still plenty of power, right? So in a straight line, this car is very, very quick. 0 to 100 takes just 4.1 seconds. But it's not just the engine that this car shares with its larger brother. So a lot of the chassis components like the suspension actually comes from the M4. And for some reference, this car actually has the same track width as an M4. So the result is a really capable and dynamic compact sports coupe, right? So this car handles very, very well. The steering is nice and alert and sharp. You know, this car feels nimble, it feels very, very focused, and that's what you want your M2 to be. You want it to be a dynamic, capable sports car, and this certainly is that. And of course, push this car hard and it will reward you, right? So it's one of those cars where the harder you drive it, the more engaging it feels. And yes, that's what you want out of your M2. It delivers on every front as far as the sporty handling is concerned. Now, I will have to point out that this car is a bigger car than before, so it's built on a chopped up 3 Series platform as opposed to the old car that was built on a 1 Series platform. And you do feel that difference, not perhaps when you're driving this car very hard, but when you're driving on normal day-to-day, situations like what I'm doing right now, right? Stuck at a traffic light. So this car is 10 cm longer than before, and you do feel that on the road. It takes up more space. You look in your mirrors and, wow, there's a lot of car behind you. And when you're in a parking lot, it fills up more of the lot. Yes, that takes a little bit of adjusting too, because this is a compact car, but it's not as compact as it used to be. However, I will have to admit that overall ride pliancy is a lot improved than before. So this car, obviously you have your variable settings, right? So you have 3 different suspension settings, and in the comfort mode, it's honestly quite comfortable for a performance car, right? It's not crashy in any way. It's firm, but quite forgiving as well. It goes over bumps very well. So I just went over a little bump and you don't really feel that much. And that's nice, right? It gives this car a lot more of that duality. So you have your everyday sort of comfortable driving, and then you can put it in the most sporty settings for your more B-road driving, or even if you take this car on the track. Overall, I do think this new M2 is very polished, right? It's very capable, very dynamic when it comes to sporty driving, but on your everyday stuff, it's perfectly usable. It's a very good everyday car. It definitely feels a lot more mature and grown up than before. So the new BMW M2, is it a will buy, won't buy, or go try? For me, this is a go try. So I really, really love the original M2, and this is a car that I really want to like. However, I am a little bit conflicted. Don't get me wrong, this is a very fast, very capable, and very dynamic sports coupe. And in terms of dynamic capabilities, it really ticks all the boxes, right? This is the BMW M compact car that you really want. If you are in the market for a small sports coupe, this car fits the bill, right? It will almost certainly put a grin on your face. And yes, you can still option the M2 with a manual gearbox. So, that's a big plus, right? This still is able to deliver a purist driving experience. And this is still a recipe that's special and desirable. And yet, I don't feel the same emotional connection to this particular car. I don't really like how it looks. I think it's a little bit too big and arguably has a little bit too much power. I do think this car has lost a little bit of that analog feel, right? Although I suppose that's true for any new car with more and more technology in these cars. Yes, maybe this car will grow on me over time. I think it will, but right now I'm still pining for the old one. And I suppose the big question, is this new M2 still the pick of the current M lineup? For my money, I probably have the M3 Touring. So yes, that's our review of the new BMW M2. What do you think? Let us know in the comment section below. And of course, remember to like, share and subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you will be alerted of all our upcoming videos. And of course, you can also check us out on TikTok at Sgcarmart. So yes, that's all I have for you today. I'll see you soon. Bye! 3, 2, 1. That's a 3, 2, 1. Now at the back, I do like how 3, 2, 1. Now the digital cluster still
Digital cluster.
yeah,
Okay.
you know